The Ghost Ship of Long Beach, Hauntings of the Queen Mary. In the deep still of the Pacific night, where waves softly kiss the hull of the grand ocean liner frozen in time, a different kind of motion never ceased. In the belly of steel and steam, echoes of lives past and tragedies long buried remain restless. This is the story of the Queen Mary, once the flagship of transatlantic luxury, later a wartime troopship, and now a permanently moored hotel and museum in Long Beach, California. But its new incarnation came with an unexpected legacy, the reputation of being one of America's most haunted places. Launched in 1934, the RMS Queen Mary steamed the Atlantic with elegance and speed. During World War II, she was converted to a troopship, ferrying thousands of soldiers to war zones. After the war, she resumed passenger service until declining demand and rising costs forced her retirement. In December 1967, she sailed into the harbor at Long Beach and never left. Her engines silenced, her route ended, her hull anchored, but her story did not. Tragedy and departure. Over her operational life, the Queen Mary claimed dozens of lives, whether from natural causes, wartime accidents, or heavy machinery. Each death added a whisper to the vessel's legacy. When she docked permanently in Long Beach, the ship transformed into a floating hotel, but the past refused to stay submerged. Haunted locations aboard the ship. Stateroom B340. One of the most infamous sights aboard the Queen Mary is Stateroom B340. Guests and staff alike have reported lights flickering, faucets turning on and off of their own accord, sheets being pulled off beds in the dead of night. In one account, a guest awakened to see a shadowy figure standing by the foot of her bed, then vanishing when she cried out. According to legend, a passenger died in the room years ago, though records are murky. Regardless, it has been closed to regular bookings and reserved for paranormal hunt packages. The first-class swimming pool. Though drained and dry for decades, the first-class pool remains a hotspot of supernatural lore. Visitors have heard splashing where no water remains, wet footprints trailing from the pool deck into dressing rooms, women in 1930s-style swimsuits walking silently along the tiles, then disappearing. Some claim to have seen the figure of a little girl clutching a teddy bear, wandering the changing rooms, her name often given as Jackie, though no official record confirms a drowning on that ship deck. Engine room and door 13. Deep in the ship resides a narrow maintenance corridor known as Shaft Alley, adjacent to the engine room's massive watertight bulkhead known simply as Door 13. In 1966, a young fireman crewman was crushed during a drill when the door slammed shut, a single tragic death among many. But visitors since claim to feel an oppressive sense of dread in that corridor, to see a figure in blue overalls walking slowly toward Door 13 before vanishing. A chilling reenactment of the fatal moment, persistent through time. The Lady in White and other apparitions. Throughout the decks of the Queen Mary, figures in apparel from another era linger. A tall, young woman in an elegant evening gown is sometimes seen dancing alone in the Queen's salon, long after the orchestra has stopped. A man in a 1930s-style dark suit, tall and imposing, walks the halls. Doors slam, footsteps echo, temperature plummets. In the third-class children's playroom are reports of a baby's cry, of shadows of little ones running when no one is present. Why so haunted? Some skeptics point out the Queen Mary's reputation is well marketed, a haunted attraction that sells. And it's true. Ghost tours, overnight stays, and after-hours investigations are part of the business model. But the stories persist because they are persistent, repeated by staff, by guests, by investigators. Over 49 confirmed deaths occurred while the ship was in service. Personal accounts and notable encounters. On one ghost tour, guests reported motion sensors triggered in an unoccupied room. CCTV caught shadows where none should be. In room B340, a guest described feeling something pull the covers from her, then saw a figure at the foot of her bed. On the pool deck, an investigator claimed to feel a small child grab 3 of his fingers, even though no one was beside him. Scientific and skeptical view. Not everyone is convinced the Queen Mary is truly haunted. Some investigators attribute the stories to natural occurrences, shifting metal and pipes, drafts in a large old hole, fatigue and suggestibility in large groups. Pareidolia, they say, the mind imposing meaning on random input. Spirit of the sea, legacy and reflection. Beyond the thrilling tales, consider the layers of history: ocean voyages, wartime service, lives lived and lost. The Queen Mary is more than a ghost story. She's a floating archive of human ambition, tragedy, luxury, and mortality. The ghosts may be metaphorical, our memories of the ship, our fear of what lies beneath grandeur, or they may be real. Either way, the story resonates. So if you ever walk the corridors of the Queen Mary late at night on Deck B, you might hear a faucet turn by itself, feel the brush of a cold draft, and if you're very still, you might glimpse the lady in white or hear the little girl Jackie laughing as she wanders the drained pool. The ship may say she's retired, but some voyages never end.